Hi, this is Theresa with One Inspiring Woman, and today we're talking about Scorpio season 2022. Hi, my name is Theresa with One Inspiring Woman. I'm an intuitive psychic medium here in the Sugar Land area. That's just outside of Houston. I work with my angels and guides to assist my clients in many areas of their lives, to bring them special messages from loved ones who have passed, to dialogue with their angels for guidance into their own situation, or to assist them with their own psychic abilities. If you like my content, please make sure to subscribe, like, and comment. That's right, we are talking about Scorpio season. So so far in October, things kind of seem to be moving along, not too fast, not too slow, just kind of one of those like just right speeds. And then all of a sudden, we are going to hit Scorpio season and things are going to get a little bit crazy. And not necessarily a bad way, but there's a whole bunch of planetary energies that are going to be affecting not only you in certain ways, but it's going to be affecting other people in certain ways. And so that's kind of one of those, get ready for all this, because it's important to understand like how are these going to be moving and changing and disrupting not only my life, but your life and everybody else's life around us. So that's kind of one of the things that we're going to talk about today is Scorpio season actually starts on the 23rd of October. And then kind of shortly thereafter, we have our Scorpio solar eclipse. And we're going to be kind of really dealing with a lot of heavy energy as this shifts around. And that's kind of not necessarily a bad thing. There are some things that eclipses kind of show light on. So that's kind of the fun part of a solar eclipse is it's going to be showing light into areas of our life. Not only will the moon block the sun from us for a period of time, it's kind of what can we see when it's blocked. It's one of those, like if you're looking up into the sun and you're like, oh my gosh, it's so bright. But when you comfort your eyes, it's like, okay, now I can see so many other different things that I couldn't see before. So that's kind of what this eclipse energy does for us. It kind of highlights things that we would normally kind of like not really notice or anything else. But because that eclipse is hiding from the sun from us, it's going to be really highlighting things that we would have normally walked past, not really done, but it also kind of pushes our energy in a lot of different ways because of all the changes in this Scorpio solar eclipse. It's one of those, it's going to be making some changes for us and kind of really gives us the opportunity to kind of like leap forward or jump backwards. And that's totally up to you. It's your choice what you want to do or not want to do, because ready or not, it's coming no matter what. So there's been a lot of changes over the last month or so, and it's one of those, we had like 7 planets in retrograde at one point, and then we have kind of this Scorpio season coming. We've got a lot of changes coming up. We've had Mercury, Pluto, and Saturn kind of change direction. So kind of like from retrograde, kind of coming out of retrograde, and that's going to be affecting things as well because retrograde energy hits us a little bit differently or works with our energy a little bit differently than when it's direct or when it's in pre-shadow or post-shadow. It's one of those, that's kind of where we're going with all of this. So after the solar eclipse on the 25th, then we have 2 weeks later, we have our lunar eclipse, and this is going to be a full lunar eclipse, and that will be in the sign of Taurus, and that is going to be kind of pushing a lot more energy into our relationships that we really haven't been pushing a lot of energy into for a while. So this is kind of like, wow, this is really some intense energy, because eclipse energy, like I said, is kind of, we get everything without any barriers or anything else. It just comes at us for a period of time. So that's kind of an interesting one. Kind of what we have kind of in the middle of all of this, we also have a lot of kind of really intense energy coming at us. So let's talk about this. So let's see. We have Saturn ends its full retrograde and goes into post shadow, so it's going to be getting stronger and feeling stronger, and that starts on the 23rd, as well as our Scorpio season. Saturn is all about our structure and our infrastructure in our country, in our lives, in our families, and so that's going to be kind of pushing that energy a little bit more. And it's kind of been kind of resting in this energy of Aquarius, and it's one of those, now it's going to be pushing some energy in there. So people are going to kind of turn back towards home, or kind of turn back towards like friends and family, compared to being out in the world at large, kind of thing. It's going to be I also feel like there's going to be a lot of new choices coming, and a lot of it has to do with this Saturn energy. It's one of those, are we going to step up and be adults, or are we going to step down and be children? And that's part of that step forward and step back. It's not the only one, but it's one of those, are we going to step up and be parents and adults and deal with things, or are we going to be like children and kind of allow someone else to take care of it? It's our choice, and when we don't make a choice, we allow other people to make choices for us. So it's kind of, how is that going to be affecting all of us, is an interesting one. I will say, we will be kind of hitting, like I said, a lot of maturity levels for different people. You're going to see a lot more people really pushing this idea, and I saw that on one of my social medias today, is someone saying, you know, this child needs to do this, or these children need to do this, or they need to learn how to grow up and be different. This is my grandchild. This is Ray. So she has to learn how to be a little bit more of an adult. So kind of one of the energies is, this is really pushing a lot of kids into some different areas, and people calling them on it. And so you're going to see that more and more over this period of time, of kind of Saturn kind of coming back into its own energy of, where do we want to go with this? Where do we want to push this energy? And how are we going to push our kids? Because it's kind of like a nature thing. At some point, we have to kind of kick our kids out of the nest, just like a bird does, and they have to learn how to do it on their own. And so if our kids are used to us doing it for them, eventually they just get so used to that they don't want to do it. And so we kind of sometimes have to push them out of the nest to kind of become their own adults for a period of time. Okay, well hold still, Miss Ray. Okay, Miss Ray is very excited about stuff. So next we have on let's see, on the 25th we have our solar eclipse in the sign of Scorpio, and that's going to be, like I said, really shielding us in some interesting ways to kind of move some energy that we haven't really been wanting to push, or kind of like, wow, we're not really ready for all of this. These are going to open up some brand new opportunities to kind of reinvent ourselves. Kind of, where do we want to make the changes? What do we want to do next? How do we want to kind of change what's coming around us? And eclipse energy is going to always bring a lot of surprises. Like I said, it's kind of like things that we've kind of thought we were going to have to deal with, and then all of a sudden, boom, they're in our face. But I also get that part of this is coming in with kind of an interesting challenge, because we have a lot of things going on. I can tell you that there is going to be a lot of changes going on in the world. I have a feeling, and I've heard this from other people as well, that there are going to be probably some changes in regards to Russia and the Ukraine. That coming up, especially during this eclipse energy, this is going to eclipse things. Kind of one of the things that's going to be really interesting in this is, how is it going to make changes? That's the part we really can't tell until everybody gets into that idea. So that's kind of, what's coming up next? How is this going to make some changes for us? I will say, kind of next, we kind of deal with our solar eclipse, our Ray is a little crazy girl today. She is just crazy, crazy, crazy. So we have kind of a heads up. once we have that first eclipse, that energy is going to stay really, really high. And then we're going to be kind of going in kind of the opposite sign of Taurus and bringing a lot of turning points. This is going to be bringing up a lot of changes, especially because it's in the sign of Taurus. Taurus is all about family and pushing the right agenda and that sort of thing. So, and also kind of really pushing partnerships. All of this season is going to be amping up our visibility. So you're going to see a lot of things that you weren't really seeing before kind of like come to the light, like, oh my gosh, it's one of those, like, there's the elephant in the room. We finally saw it. We finally found it in all of this energy. So it's kind of like, wow, this is really taking up some changes for us and bringing in some new and different energy. So let's talk about Jupiter. Jupiter has been in retrograde, and it's kind of in two signs, and that happens quite a lot. Jupiter backs up enough in retrograde to kind of go back into the sign of Pisces. And it's not necessarily a bad thing. Jupiter is the planet of growth, expansion, and lots of luck. So we're going to kind of feel that a little bit more, kind of that flowing energy of luck. Even though it's still in retrograde, we're going to start to feel that a little bit more. I will tell you that also, I kind of think that this is kind of that changing kind of energy. It's still in full retrograde. It will be there until December 20th. So it's kind of like still squeezing that a little bit more. But once Jupiter gets out of retrograde, it's kind of like starts expanding again. So right now things kind of feel like they're closing in or tightening up. But also one of the things about that is that Jupiter in retrograde is really going to be kind of pushing our love signals, and in a great way, kind of not only your partnerships, your spouse, your boyfriend or girlfriend, it's going to be pushing a lot of energy with your family as well, kind of like pushing this into kind of a new level of growth and energy in all of this. So this is kind of a great sign to kind of be ready for. This will be really, and I said, like, it'll be kind of moving back in that sign October 28th. So you're going to start feeling people kind of wanting to be with their family more often, changing their plans of like, I'd rather stay at home. I'd rather do this with my sister, my brother, my cousin, my husband, my wife, my whatever it is. Like, I'm going to instead of going out with my friends, I'm going to do this instead. So you're going to see a lot of that kind of coming around and making some changes. Next, still in Scorpio season, we have Mars in retrograde. Right now, Mars is in pre-shadow energy, but on October 30th, it goes into full retrograde, and it will stay there for a while. And it's actually really long time in the sign of, okay. Next, let's talk about Mars in retrograde. So Mars is in pre-shadow energy until October 30th, and then it's going to flip over and be into full retrograde. Mars is really an interesting planet because it has kind of, I think, like even the words that we use to describe it, it's like action, aggression, but it's also passion. And so you're going to feel a lot of that kind of like people kind of bringing out that energy, kind of that passionate energy about everything. Kind of, you're going to see it across the board. But more than anything else, you're going to see a lot of passion, aggression, and a lot of changes in people's words. Because Mars goes into retrograde in the sign of Gemini, which is all about communication. It is about how we talk to ourselves, how we talk to other people, how we talk to our friends and our family and our coworkers and everybody else. So this is going to be bringing in some interesting energy for us of kind of changing that energy. It's going to be kind of like bringing in a lot of energy in what's going on. And this could be really causing our passions to kind of like get a little crazy. For some, it may be cooling them off, but I will guarantee you emotions are going to be on high. And kind of the words that I have heard several times is kind of almost like a war of words, because Mars is the planet of war, but Gemini is the planet of communication. So you're going to see a lot of people almost like splitting hairs, almost that tomato kind of energy. Where do we go with this? So that's kind of one of those interesting energies, is how is it going to affect everybody? With Mars spinning backwards, this will be a great time for people to cut unnecessary cost. And I know prices are going high, and some people are like, we're already doing that. This is going to be kind of really wanting us to do this and kind of pushing this energy. I will tell you, when you try to make a big purchase during this time frame, I guarantee you, if you even try to like rush out and make that purchase, people are going to be like, wait, I need to rethink this. I need to go back and think about this one more time. Or I need to look at one more website to find out if I can get it for a better price. So people are going to be doing that as well, kind of like pushing that energy. And a lot of times during Mars in retrograde, people will be taking sometimes a much needed retreat. Of kind of like, I just need to take some time off. I need to take some time to myself and kind of rethink what's going on around us. So that will be kind of like really interesting energy. So one of the things I think kind of this energy has a lot to do with is kind of making lots of shifts and changes for us. And really, we are going to kind of really hold on to some new energy for a while. So this is really the next part of October is going to be like, oh my gosh, so many changes. So let's pull some angel cards and get us a little bit deeper insight into Scorpio season 2022. So this one is the first one popping up, and this one is Capricorn, and this is all about achieving. And I really feel like this is people really with so many planets in retrograde, as some of them start to come out, like I said, like Mercury and Pluto and Saturn kind of coming out, people are going to feel like they're going to be achieving, although it may seem a little slow because they're still in post-shadow energy for a little bit longer. Things are going to be moving, but it may be not moving as fast as we would really like them to be. This one is the moon, and this is our perception. Not everybody is affected by each planet in retrograde in the same way or the same extent. So that's something to kind of, interesting. How do we do this? So everybody's perception is going to be a little bit differently. And kind of that's the fun part about it is I think kind of one of the other perceptions is because the perception is about the moon energy, and we've got a partial or a full lunar eclipse coming in November. How is that going to affect everybody, and how is that going to kind of change our perspective of what do we want to change, what do we want to move forward in, is there anything we want to go back on? That's going to be interesting. Juno is bringing up this sign of partnership, and this is where I get with kind of that Jupiter energy coming up, of kind of making some new choices to kind of be around our friends and our family, and Mars is going to do that as well. So you're going to kind of have that push to be around family, be around friends, kind of pushing that energy in kind of a great unexpected way, but kind of desiring to kind of like follow our roots, kind of like who really nourishes us, who really gives us that time and effort for each other. And I think that's kind of one of the interesting energies. A lot of times when we're dealing with our family, people are like, I don't want to be with my family. But this time we're going to be like, I'd rather be with family than out and about. This is Vesta, and this is about the hearth, and this is about changing kind of like our inner structure. The hearth is always like the center of the household and kind of like that warmth of everything that we bring in for us. So this is going to bring in some great changes. So let's pull, I feel like I need to pull a couple more cards because I'm not getting, I feel like there's still something else out there that I need to kind of talk about. So the next card I get is the Ascendant, and this is all about the entrance and kind of like coming into this energy as we move into our Scorpio season and then our eclipse energy. We're going to be shifting and changing and modifying, and how you enter this energy is really important, kind of more important than you can kind of possibly imagine. So it's kind of like bringing that in and kind of really making some deep changes, not only for yourself, but for other people as well. Kind of like, what is it that we require knowing? What is it that we require doing at this time to kind of get ready for that? My next card is the second house, and this is all about resources. And this is really coming in big because I feel like there's a lot of resources out there, but there's a lot of resources that have it wrong. And so kind of that's the interesting energy of if you're getting ready for one thing and it turns out to be something else. It's kind of like, since I live in Texas, if you were getting ready for hurricane season, you would be doing one set of things. But if you were getting ready for winter, you'd be doing other things. So it's kind of like, are you getting ready for the right energy? Are you getting ready to be ready for this energy to come in at you? And I will tell you that your resources and where you gather them and how you deal with this is going to make this eclipse energy, this Scorpio energy, easier or harder. It's going to change how you look at this. The next card is the progressions, and this is all about the journey. The journey is really important, and we never kind of stop this journey. If we'd stop this journey, we'd be gone. We'd be off Earth. But it's like, how do we set up this energy? How do we set up this journey that we're going to be going through, not only through October, through the end of the year, and kind of into our new year of 2023? Like, how is this energy going to affect us? Where is it going to be at? Because this eclipse energy doesn't just stop on a dime, like, oh, the eclipses are over, it's over with. No, it's going to be with us really, really high for probably about 30 to 60 days, and then it'll start tapering off a little bit. But this is really coming in, and it's not just the instant the eclipse energy happens, it's also what's going on around the world and how other people do it. And like I said, I get pulled back one more time to a lot of stuff going on around Russia and the Ukraine and kind of that side of the world. But I also have a feeling that while that's going on, we're going to be eclipsed with something else from the east. I feel like there's something else in the east energy that we are going to be like, wow, we were all looking at this and we should have been looking over here. So there's a lot of changes, a lot of modifications coming in during this time frame. So just be ready for it and make sure that you're prepared for our Scorpio season 2022. I thank you so much for joining me today, and I know that we'll be talking again soon.